Hi, happy new month, happy old month. Um, October imefika mwisho just like that, and I don't know if kuna mtu anafeel kama October imemcheza. Personally, October imenicheza big time. It has been just that one eventful month for me. Alafu ninakumbuka venye nilikuja hapa nikawaambia, the plans that I have for October, I'm planning sijui nini, I have my own goals, but October told me, well, girl, you have no idea what I'm planning for you, but what I'm grateful for is that tumefika mwisho and we are alive, we are healthy, we are happy, hatulali njaa, we have a roof on top of us. I mean, those are just things to be grateful for, because I was about to complain, alafu nikafikiria like, yo girl, you just being here and seeing another new day with nothing really pressing you, it's just something to be grateful for. Of course, pesa is one thing that is pressing my head so much, but that kept aside, having everything that I have, even me just being me and me being whole, is something to be grateful for. And that one, I know it very well, I can testify to that. So I'm just grateful that October is gone and November is here, the 11th month. Alafu December, alafu 2022, we call it kaput. Yani, that is how we are growing old. Miaka inakuja ikisonga. But I hope we are, good things are happening for us. Hata tukizeeka, tunazeeka gracefully, like Fane Wayne, as I like to say it. And so as I was trying to see what will I do for November, and of course, I'm a person who sets goals. I have these, what do we call them? Vision boards that I keep. But for November, I think I'll leave it a bit more open. Kidogo tu, I'll just leave it a bit open. Of course, I will have my own goals that I'll keep to myself. Like by the end of November, I want to have achieved 1, 2, 3 things. But what October has taught me is that, okay, let's say from September, what September and October has constantly taught me is that don't be too hard on yourself when you have not achieved your goals. Mostly when life happens and it just has to happen the way it is happening, you have no control of it. You just let it be and let God be, and don't be too hard on yourself. So November, I have my own goals. Of course, I want to grow my channel. I want to have more connections business wise. Of course, I want to make more meaningful friendships in terms of having people who will help me grow, not just by us sitting together and just talking about our relationships and all the problems that men have, and also the problems that women have, but also friends who can basically ask me critically, Joy, what are you planning? I mean, business wise, what are your plans? If it is what I am doing, what are the challenges that you're facing? Is there any way that you can come in and maybe help? And friends who also will ask, how are you health wise? Do you need any advice mentally? How are you mentally? Blah blah. Such meaningful conversation that really impacts someone. I'm not saying that relationship conversations are not meaningful, but sometimes when we sit down to discuss about our relationships, I've realized people tend to concentrate too much on the negatives of our significant other rather than you concentrating on how good they have been to you maybe so far, and not unless you need help in that area where you actually see red flags and you're not acting towards them, then that's a different conversation. So I think that is me for November. And a word, and that is why I'm actually here, a word that I will carry nitabeba through November. It's just this word that came to me. So this weekend, I had a kesha at church, City Revival Temple, CRT, iko pale Ngara, Muslim Road, leo Unyeri imekuwa activated 100%. Muslim Road, and it was a youth kesha. As you know, I'm a leader in a group that we call ourselves Brotherhood Mentality, and our mantra is spreading faith it's spreading faith through love or spreading love through faith. Either way, the two of them work hand in hand. And we are having this event that we're planning for next year, and we had our auditions like 2 weeks ago. I think it is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, thereabout. And so we were meeting the new team for the very first time, and also having a prayer kesha. And by God's grace, I was honored to be speaking. And I think there's a point that I did not even realize when I was writing my notes, and I realized them when I was actually teaching. I don't know if it is to preach and to teach. I think I'm more of a teacher. I was teaching, and it said, God gives us perfection in time, and when He does, whatever you say, I mean, how was it? God gives us perfection in time. That when He does every year, okay, God gives us perfection in time, and He gives us backup to our own word. That every ear will hear, every eye will see, and every knee will bow. So the main part of that statement that really stood out for me is that perfection in time. God will give us perfection in time. Because sometimes, there's someone who I had say a statement about myself, and they were saying that I am more like I'm really forcing issues for myself to be out here and say that I'm connected to 1 people, 2 people, 3 people. Okay, when you hear me basically say maybe we are talking about something and they say, oh, I know they wanna, oh, something like that, and it just hit me that sometimes because of maybe of such statements or such instances, we tend to downgrade on ourselves as individuals. You tend to to kujikunja, to shrink yourself in that corner where you feel like literally I think whatever I have to share isn't enough. And I think you have heard me maybe in my Instagram talk about this as a small reel about just you being confident in yourself, and what I'm grateful for, and why Friday was so eventful for me, and why this word is so stood out for me, is because looking at my own journey and looking at this far, however much I am able to achieve, it is actually by God's own perfection. I am one who is not public speaking is not my strength really, but it is I'm finding myself in this ground where I need to speak in front of people. And when maybe people are approaching me for it, I always tell them, well, I'll take only 10 minutes to speak. But when I stand, I realize I'm taking almost 1 hour to speak. So that is me, that is my own place of perfection. It is my area of perfection. And I cannot say it is I who is perfecting it, because I haven't gone for a master class or about public speaking. It is just God's grace that I am able to stand in front of people and deliver whatever I'm supposed to deliver. It may not be perfect per se. My delivering style might not be so professional per se, but that little that I am able to deliver and people are able to grasp, I thank God for it. And that reminded me of the story of these 2 people came to mind when I was thinking about it, Moses and Jeremiah. When Moses was called by God to go back to Egypt to save the Israelites, one thing he told God is that he was a stammerer, and he told God, how will I do this when I am a stammerer? Jeremiah, when he was being called, he also told God, my speech isn't that fluent enough for me to speak to people and tell them what you're going to do. So what interests me about Moses is God gave him his brother Aaron to help him as like an interpreter. And Jeremiah, God touched his tongue, literally touched his tongue, and everything about them changed. So I want you to follow me in these stories. Let's go to someone like Joseph and David. These were 2 young boys who were, who were seen like outcasts in their families, because Joseph, he was a dreamer, of course, and he always dreamt of this grandiose life that he was going to have. You can read the story and maybe follow it up. And every time he shared it to his brothers always mocked him. To a point, even his father somehow doubted whatever this boy is saying. David, he was a son to another woman. And he was just this boy. His place was only in the fields. Wewe ni wa kuchunga ng'ombe na mbuzi. And when Prophet Samuel was sent to Jesse's house to anoint the king. Yani from number one, how many sons were they? Were they 12? From number one to, let me say, the second last son, mafuta ilikataa kumwagika literally, and Jesse had to ask, are you sure? I mean, Samuel had to ask, are you sure you do not have another son? And Jesse said, there is one, but ako huko inje akichunga when he's tending to the flocks. So these are two people who, according to their siblings' eyes, they were just simple little boys who had no future, and their opinion maybe didn't count when maybe they were gathering, because they were men. When they were gathering to make maybe family decisions, these are people who were not considered to be, part of they were not considered to be part of those meetings, maybe just because of the way maybe they were viewed. But these are the people who God chose to bring change in their families, to bring change to the history of Christianity, to bring change. I mean, we read about these two boys many centuries after, and if they can just look at the way we reference our life to them, they can just be amazed. So what am I saying? It's sometimes when you look about on Moses and Jeremiah, no, this one I take it in the career aspect, in the professional aspect. They were people who were sent by God to stand in front of kings, to stand in front of multitudes of people, to talk about the salvation of the Lord. Like Moses, he was told to go and actually confront a king, Pharaoh, about him releasing the Israelites. And you can imagine someone going to confront Pharaoh himself, the immortal one, the immortal God. And he had that courage to really go and perform, all these plagues that happened. Mpaka Pharaoh akasema, release these people and let them go. How powerful is that? And even when you read now, even later, Moses became more bolder to lead and rebuke the children of Israelites. When you come to Jeremiah, he was this great one prophet. I'm still studying the book of Jeremiah, so I haven't grasped really his story afterwards. But the prophecies that he made, the warnings that he made, the rebuke that he made, this calls for someone who is so confident in who he is. And when I look about them, it is not them who brought this perfection in them. It is God who brought this perfection in them. When you look in the aspect of Joseph and David, I'll bring it to a personal level, as in it is how we view ourselves depending on the environment that we are in. Sometimes you are meant for greatness, but because the environment you're in is not favoring you, you tend to decrease yourself and really say, whatever dreams that I have for myself, they cannot come into accomplishment. But I believe when you encounter God, and when God has said you are the one, it doesn't matter where you come from, his perfection will come in time. And so as to David, just a simple shepherd, he went to the king's house as a servant and as a consultant of Saul. Sometimes Saul tried to kill him, and ever David kept his respect towards Saul. And eventually he became the king of Israelites and led for 40 years. 40 good years. And David and Joseph became the emperor, somehow, let me call him emperor or counselor he went to Egypt, and he saved his family. So my point is, after talking all that, is that I think with November, I am going into it with this word, just saying that God is my perfecter and he will perfect me in time. In whatever area that I decide to put my hands into, he will give me that perfection that I need, and he will give me excellence that I need. Because I was telling another group that it doesn't matter how perfect you do something, how we ourselves, we define perfection. It doesn't matter how perfect we do our own things. What matters is the impact that whatever we are doing is having on the people around us and even to ourselves. So for me, my prayer is God will give me the perfection that I need, that in whatever thing I choose to do, it will have positive impact around me, my family, my relationships, and even with whoever I tend to meet, they will be impacted by whatever I am doing. So my prayer is just that perfection. And I think when God gives you perfection, it makes you stand in a group of people, because there's just that one unique thing that people cannot really explain about you. I think also the other thing, when God's perfection is working to your favor, is it defends you. it just defends you. It doesn't matter where you go, just the way you are. God's perfection defends you. And this one, I think I took it from the life of David and Joseph, because both of them, they found themselves serving in the king's palace. You know, David is a servant, and David is a servant to Saul and as a consultant and musician, and Joseph also is a servant in Pharaoh's house. But no matter what challenges they got, wherever they found themselves, they found favor because of God's perfection. You know, at some point Joseph had to go to prison because he refused to sleep with Pharaoh's wife, and even in prison he became a leader of the prisoners. So, and David, when he was attacking Goliath, that gave him favor in front of Saul, that he got to marry Saul's first daughter, because that was a promise. And I just believe when God's perfection is on your side, it defends you. Also, the other thing is it gives you an edge of excellence. It gives you an edge of excellence, and I think that is what I desire most in my life. Of course, growing up, I wasn't exposed to ethical work backgrounds. I wasn't exposed to ethical and meaningful relationships. I wasn't exposed to you taking your life seriously. And I think right now what I'm craving for is that excellence. That if you give me a task, I might not be well acquainted, I might not be well familiar with whatever maybe task I'm given, but I will try to perform it to my best knowledge, and to with the most excellent results that I could ever give in this world. So I believe God's perfection gives you that edge of excellence, that when you touch something, there's just that personal touch that you give it, that everybody talks about. If I give Joy this, I know she will give it her best, and she will give me the best results ever, and her work is excellent. Because I believe living in that mediocre mindset of sini kazi tu, nitaifanya tu nifanye, sini meeting tu, wacha tu twende ndio tuifanye, I believe that one also, in the principles of God, according to how I understand, it also limits you from you achieving what God may want you to achieve in this life. And also financially, you might not, as I have always said, you might not grasp what you're supposed to earn. So I think that excellence is what I'm praying for from November moving forward, that when God is perfecting me, I will just have that spirit of excellence in one or another. And the other point is, when God's perfection is on your side, it gives you confidence, as I have explained earlier. You don't know where boldness comes from. Atakama you speaking in broken English, in that broken English, you just have another level of confidence, that when you speak, you believe that whatever you speak in is being received by people. That when you stand in front of people, you're not worried about, I don't know how my hair is, I don't know how my voice is, I don't know how short people will see me. All these physical matters, they just become non-existent, and you're there to serve the purpose that you're called to serve. So I think those are just the main points that for me I want to see being activated in my life as I step into November, and as we step also into December, and as we receive the new year. It's just that shift that I want to experience in my life, just for me to live, to have that meaning in my life and in whatever I am doing, that I won't just do it because I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I believe that is what I'm called to do, and because God has backed me up in whatever place that He places me on. And that is just me for November, I think, and it will be continuous, but I just want to see these shifts and these things coming to play in my month of November, and I believe at the end of the day we shall be somewhere better. And also I believe it for you also, it is something maybe that you'll get to yearn, and you'll get to have a hunger for, just having that God perfecting you in time, God perfecting you pole pole, and giving you that edge of excellence in whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter if you have a public space, it doesn't matter if your space is so private. in whatever area of your calling and in whatever area of your operation. God will give you that edge of excellence. And with that, I wish you a happy new month, happy and prosperous November. May whatever you touch be fruitful, whatever your hands come into contact with, may it multiply and may it give you joy and may it give you favor. And everyone maybe who has had a rough October, just step into this new month with faith that everything will work out for your good. And don't be too hard if things don't work out also for your good. There's always another chance for things to work out. And with that, bye bye. See you in the next season and next episode. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and let's grow together. Bye bye.